You know, every single street has a story, and most of them are just hiding in plain sight. Today, we're going to uncover a really dramatic transformation in one New York City neighborhood. I'm talking about a journey from a peaceful paradise to an industrial nightmare, and then, somehow, impossibly, back again. So let's figure out how it all happened. So, how does this totally serene waterfront from 1852, turn into this dark, kind of oppressive streetscape in less than 100 years? I mean, that's the real mystery of Turtle Bay, right? And the answer, well, it tells you a lot about the powerful and, yeah, often brutal forces that can shape a city. All right, so to really get what was lost here, we've got to rewind the clock. Let's go all the way back to the mid 1800s, to a time when this part of Manhattan was, a whole different world from the city we know today. So this was the real Turtle Bay. And yeah, it was a literal bay on the East River. We're talking about a semi-rural landscape, dotted with these charming homes. It was known for just being beautiful and quiet. Imagine a place where you're hearing the water lapping against the shore instead of, the roar of traffic. Totally different vibe. And it wasn't just pretty. It was a real community. This right here was Cato's house, a super popular tavern where travelers could stop and rest. It's like a perfect little snapshot of a slower, more peaceful way of life. A life that was about to be completely wiped out by the so-called March of Progress. Okay, so now let's see what happens next. Because that engine of progress, industrialization, it didn't show up as some big promise. Nope. It arrived more like a plague, one that would just radically, and I mean radically, reshape this landscape for the worse. And the crazy part, the decline was shockingly fast. Think about it. In the late 1860s, the city literally fills in the bay. It's just gone. By the 1880s, you've got heavy industry moving in, bringing what the residents started calling nuisances. And then, by the early 1900s, the brand new elevated train casts this permanent rumbling shadow over everything. So yeah, this wasn't some slow, quiet decline. It blew up into a full-on public crisis. The neighborhood's problems got so bad, they were literally making headlines in the New York Times. People were just living in this industrial mess, and the whole city was finally starting to pay attention. So what exactly were these nuisances they were talking about? Well, the Times article is brutally clear about it. We're talking stockyards, breweries, and slaughterhouses. The very same industries that were powering the city were making this one small corner of it almost impossible to live in. And look, here's the proof right here. This is the Wilson and Company meatpacking plant. It just dominated the skyline. This one single building with hams, bacon, and lard right on the side. It basically symbolizes the total industrial takeover of what was once this beautiful, peaceful waterfront. And oh, it wasn't just loud and dirty, it smelled. This quote from an article in 1884 talks about a massive manure heap sitting right on the East River. It calls the odor most obnoxious. Just, can you even imagine trying to live next to that? But, and this is important, the residents did not suffer in silence. A group of incredibly determined women got together and formed the Ladies' Health Protective Association back in 1884. They organized, they protested, they took their fight against the manure heaps and the slaughterhouses straight to City Hall. They were, for all intents and purposes, one of New York's very first environmental action groups. Pretty amazing. But even with all their efforts, another layer of blight was on its way. The elevated train. The L, as they called it, running down 2nd and 3rd Avenues, just made the streets below constantly noisy, dirty, and dark. It just plunged the whole neighborhood even deeper into decay. And that was it. The transformation was complete. The beautiful bay was a distant memory, replaced by industry, filth, and just constant grinding noise. Turtle Bay had officially hit rock bottom. But you know how these stories go. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, an unlikely visionary came along. She saw potential where everybody else just saw decay. And that's when the Renaissance began. This right here, this is the turning point in our story. It's the moment where one single, absolutely brilliant idea changed everything for Turtle Bay. So let me introduce you to our unlikely hero, Charlotte Hunnewell Sorchin. Around 1919, this wealthy socialite looked at all these rundown, dilapidated brownstones and she saw something else. So she bought 20 of them, and she had this totally radical plan: renovate the houses, and then combine all of their dreary little backyards into one giant, stunning garden that everyone could share. And this was the result. She created Turtle Bay Gardens, a stunning, secret oasis that was completely hidden from the street. I mean, this quiet, lush space, which was once home to huge stars like Katharine Hepburn, was born directly out of that industrial wasteland. It was a complete and total reinvention. And that one spark of revitalization, well, it created the unique, hidden gem character that the neighborhood is actually famous for today. You see, Charlotte's project sparked a much wider renewal. Other people started renovating the old brownstones, and from the street, the neighborhood slowly but surely started to get its 19th century charm back. But its most fascinating secrets, well, those were still hidden from view. Okay, and this might just be the quirkiest secret of all. Check this out. It's an entire country-style house, garden and all, built right on the roof of an apartment building, and you can't see it at all from the street. This just perfectly captures the new identity of Turtle Bay, right? It's this little enclave of hidden, totally unexpected treasures. So, what's the big takeaway from this incredible journey of, collapse and then rebirth? Really, the story of Turtle Bay is kind of the story of New York in miniature. It went from a place of slaughterhouses and manure heaps to a quiet, prestigious enclave. It's just proof that with a little vision and some community action, even the most beat-down, blighted corner of a city can be reborn. This whole transformation from an industrial nightmare to a hidden oasis is such a powerful reminder. So the next time you're walking down any street, maybe your own street, look a little closer. Try to look past the storefronts and the traffic, because I guarantee you there's a hidden history right there, just waiting for you to discover it.